Hey gardeners! I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day today. So in today's video, I decided to basically kind of just hang out today and answer some questions. I posted in my Instagram story for you guys to ask if you want to know my opinion on anything. So I got quite a few questions and I'm going to run through all of them today and answer them as best I can. So I'm going to start with all of these questions. The very first one is, do you have pet insurance? And I don't have pet insurance, and it's probably a really great idea to have it, especially if you have a lot of animals. But I typically don't bring my animals to the vet too often because I can tell if they're sick or not, or if they're injured. A lot of people can't really tell, or if they're new to reptile keeping. I don't know, it's kind of a completely controversial thing, but I personally just don't have pet insurance, and I'm sure that may change down the line because I brought my turtle in once and literally spent $500 and was not expecting to do that at all. And pet insurance would have helped majorly in a situation like that. And the second one is, what is your opinion on snapping turtle babies being readily available at pet expos? So this is also kind of touchy because, I mean, you can't really get angry at people trying to sell animals. It's more of people going to these shows and not doing research and spontaneously buying an animal because they think it's cute, because obviously a snapping turtle is going to grow and get large, and they're very snappy because they're snapping turtles. And I mean, it's just a very difficult animal to own, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So it's kind of a touchy subject again, but my opinion is it's okay to sell them, but it's more so the responsibility lies in the people that are going to be buying them. They should be doing research, and no one should ever just buy a snapping turtle or any other animal without being completely prepared and understanding what they're going to be taking on. Number 3 is difference on lesser versus butter. So I think this is talking about ball pythons. I'm awful with ball python morphs. I think I know what a butter morph is, but I don't even know what a lesser is. And I've heard it a million times, but I don't even know what it is. Can't even picture it in my brain right now. So I can't really form an opinion because I'm like horrible with ball python morphs and I have no idea. I'm sure they're both beautiful. Number 4 is Peter's banded skinks. I think these skinks are so cute. They have the cutest little faces and they're just little and adorable. I don't really know much about them though. I haven't really looked into them and I've never had any experience with them before, so I don't really know anything regarding their care or how their temperament is, but I do know that they're adorable. Number 5 is people that don't understand or take good, friendly, constructive criticism. This is something I despise. There's so many people. I mean, honestly, I feel like people that are going to be closed-minded like that and not take constructive criticism, especially if it's in a friendly way, then they're just losing in the situation because they aren't going to be learning anything new. They aren't going to be improving anything for their animals, and it's just really unfortunate for them. But you know, I understand because there are a lot of people that come at me very negatively and insult me, and it's kind of hard to take advice from somebody that's completely attacking you and putting you down. So if you are going to be trying to constructively criticize someone, very important to be friendly always, because we're all in it for the same reasons and we want to make the animals' lives better and just improve their well-being. And so we should all just be happy and healthy and get along, and people need to listen and make changes when it's necessary. Number 6 is, I am gonna butcher this significantly, Teresia snake species. Love your channel, by the way. Thank you for loving my channel. I have no idea what this snake species is, Teresia. I'm gonna have to look that up because that is something new to learn about. The next question is rack systems. So again, very, very controversial. So when it comes to racking systems, I personally don't like them. And I do keep some of my animals in tubs, and those are like my most hated enclosures because they just don't look good. And me, I'm a very visual person. Keeping reptiles, I love it so much because I like being able to set up these amazing enclosures and see them and just make everything look visually, like aesthetically pleasing. So it's really unfortunate when you have to put them in a tub like this one here. It's not looking good. Like, that doesn't look good to me. But there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you can provide the animal everything that it needs within that enclosure and there's things to do. It's not just a water bowl and paper towel. I'm completely against that. I don't like snake prisons whatsoever. I think that the snakes deserve way more than that. So it really depends when it comes to racking systems if you're going to be doing it the right way, as long as you're going to be providing enrichment to those animals as well as providing them the right amount of space, then it can be done properly, and that's totally cool. I personally don't prefer it just because I am a visual person and I like tanks and I like seeing my animal do things in the enclosure. But if that's not what you're about or you have a lot of animals, then just do it the way you want to do it. I'm not like hateful towards anyone. I'm totally open to other people doing things how they want to do it. I'm never going to be like, you need to do it this way. But I do think that everyone should make sure that there is enrichment for their animals as well as space, especially in racking systems. So number 8 is pit bulls. I love pit bulls. They are so cute. I love them. They're just little goobers. They're so sweet. So many people are like terrified of them, and they're just very, very highly misunderstood. I wish I could have a pit bull, but my boyfriend is allergic, so it's really sad. So I just live my pit bull dream through my friend Michelle, because she has a pit bull named Maury, and he's just the cutest thing ever. So yeah, pit bulls, good dogs. So number 9 is pineapple on pizza. That's a no for me, dog. Like, no way. I'm like really weird about food. Like, I don't like my food touching other things on the plate. I like eating my things separate, and I like things very plain. Like, I'm literally a grandma. I go to bed early. I like oatmeal and like plain things, and I feel like pineapple on pizza is just a no. Just not happening. So number 10, Tokays and frilled dragons. Okay, so Tokays, they're very amazing. They're gorgeous. I don't really want to own one because I like to keep my fingers. Also, I'm not a very patient person, so I had a Tokay gecko once, and I loved her and she was amazing, but it wasn't something I felt really comfortable handling, and I gave her to Michelle, and Michelle now has Dahlia tattooed on her arm, and it's just like this dream come true for her. So I do really appreciate them, but it's not something that I personally want to own. And frilled dragons, I would love to own a frilled dragon. They're like on my list of lizards that I would love to keep. They're just so cool. I love them, I love them, I love them. So number 11 is loose substrate with leopard geckos and bearded dragons. So again, I personally am not for this. I don't like the risk, and it's really hard. I don't really know what you would even use for a bearded dragon. Like, I don't like sand for bearded dragons, and some people use like eco earth, and I don't like it. I'm way too intimidated to ever go bioactive for dude. It's cool if people can accomplish it though, but and for my leopard gecko, it's really hard for them to eat on substrate, it seems like. Like my African fat tail gecko, she refuses to eat on anything other than paper towel. So just for my animals, I find that it doesn't work for me, and I don't like risking impaction whatsoever. So it's just not something that I'm wanting to do. But again, I'm not going to be like, you can't do this, you're doing it wrong. Like, there's so many different ways to keep reptiles, and if you guys want to use loose substrate and it works for you, then more power to you. So the next question is a basking light in the morning for a corn snake. So my corn snake actually has a basking light now rather than a heat pad, and it works out great as long as the animal has proper hides, because obviously corn snakes, they are nocturnal. They aren't going to want to be like out basking particularly, but they will enjoy the warmth as long as they're in a hide, because they need to feel safe and secure while they're sleeping during the day. So there's no problem with a basking light. Number 13. Oh, I knew this one was coming, and I had like 5 of these, so I didn't write all of them. Okay, so spider ball pythons, because this has been like the hot topic for the past month. So I've been waiting for someone to ask me. I personally am not for breeding animals that have health conditions. Like, I know some people say like, well, some spider ball pythons have it worse than others. So, but honestly, I am not worth the risk. I don't think it's fair to the animal, especially because the only reason it's being bred is because of the way that it looks. I just don't agree with that. It's just completely unethical, and it's not something that I want to promote whatsoever. So I'm just against breeding the spider gene because it's just not fair to the animal. For the spider genes that are already out there, I just hope that they have amazing homes with people that know how to properly take care of them. I hope in the future there can be more ethical breeding standards for situations much like the spider ball pythons. So number 14, thermostat probe inside the enclosure or between the glass and the heat mat. I think the best thing to do would be to have the probe where the snake would actually be, on top of the enclosure, in the enclosure. I don't know if I'm describing this properly whatsoever, because then you actually know like what the temperature is that's on your snake. That way it's safe for your snake and it's not going to overheat. I would always recommend to also have a temperature gun just to use to make sure, because especially if you're keeping it under the enclosure, because you don't know, like the temperature might be off a little bit. So the most accurate place to keep it would be inside the enclosure where the snake actually is, but I know sometimes that can be kind of difficult to accommodate. So either way, use a temp gun just to be safe, and just make sure that it's always regulated with the thermostat properly, because you just don't want to burn any of your animals, because it's not a good time. So number 15, hybrids, yay or nay? I'm a nay. I don't understand why people are into hybrids. Like anything that's kind of weird, like super weird morphs or anything that's like not good for the animal, I don't see the point. I'm not really into like the scaleless snakes and things like that either. It's just, I don't understand why people are so into that. And hybrids, it's just risky, and I feel like it's just unnatural. It's really unnatural. I like things that are natural from nature. Just leave it how it is. I don't know. Because there's always a risk. You don't know if there's going to be something bad that will happen. I'm a scared little grandma, okay? That's just my personality. That's how I am. So no hybrids. So the next one is climate change. So it doesn't exist. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, climate change exists, and it's really devastating, especially to a lot of animals. And honestly, I'm just terrified about the whole situation right now. I want to learn more and see like what I can do to help make a change. I wanted to make a video on this too, but I'm lacking on research right now. Hopefully in the future I will have a video, because I would love to be able to help some way and like be able to inform you guys on ways that we can all help, because I know that we're all a part of it and we all could make a change a little bit just to make things a little bit better. But yeah, I just need to do more research, and I'm just terrified right now. And I just watched the new David Attenborough Netflix show, and watching the walruses tumble down and like be completely on each other, have no space to move, and they're like falling off of these cliffs because they have no space. I bawled my eyes out. Like, that's just awful. Climate change. I'm terrified right now, and I want to learn more. That's my opinion on it. 17, what type of enclosure for a full-grown California king snake? So I don't keep king snakes, so I don't know if I would be the best person to give advice on this subject. I feel like when it comes to snakes, I always recommend like the larger you can go, the better. As long as you're providing hides within those enclosures, so that way they can feel safe and secure, and foliage and things, because they need to feel secure, not just in this huge empty big tank or enclosure. So California king snakes, I'm assuming, get like maybe 5 to 6 feet long, very similar to like corn snakes in size. So I would recommend maybe a 50-gallon for a full grown at the very minimum. Maybe a 40-gallon, who knows, but honestly, the larger the better always. You don't want to cram them in like a 20-gallon. So, but obviously if you have a baby, they can be in smaller enclosures, and then you can upgrade over time. So, but I'm not the best person to ask on this because I've never kept one. So don't take anything I'm saying to heart because I'm just totally winging this right now and I'm not an expert. So the next question is recommended crested gecko substrate. So this is kind of tough because I used to use Eco Earth and I've tried the Josh's Frogs Bio Bedding. I love those substrates. For crested geckos in particular, I have chosen to not use loose substrate anymore because I had my Leachianus gecko on loose substrate and she was impacted. So I just don't want to risk anything because you guys know I don't like risking anything. So now all of my crested geckos are just on paper towel and I find that it's just cleaner and it's easier for me to keep clean. So, and there's just no risk for impaction. So it's just what I prefer. But I have used Eco Earth and it worked in the past, and I have also used the Josh's Frogs Bio Bedding and it worked in the past. So those are just a couple of options and I'm sure there's a million more out there. The next one is, how is the support in the animal community and what would you change? I think the support in the animal community is great. I think there's a lot of really great people that are into animals, and I feel like everyone is becoming way more supportive and understanding, especially because we realize that there are a lot of people out there that are just gonna like attack everything that you do and just come at you with a negative agenda. So I feel like everyone is improving overall, and I feel like everyone has been very, very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. Something I would change for the animal community probably would just be to be kind, to be kinder to people, especially if you're approaching with criticism, and for people that are receiving the criticism to openly listen to it and just consider things and not just blow things off. I feel like a lot of the time there's like this ego issue where people need to be right or they can't be wrong. So I feel like if they were to let that go, it would just make everything way more smooth and way more peaceful in the animal community. So that would be something that I would like to see change. 20, advice for someone that wants to be a pet tuber. So if you want to be a pet tuber, I don't even know if I'm the best person to ask for this because I'm like winging all of this. I'm like new here. I'm still figuring all of this out. But I would say to make sure that you're doing your research. Also, let people know that you aren't an expert, because when I make videos, people assume I'm an expert and I know everything, and it's not true. Like, I'm still learning. I feel like we're all in this together. So it's just very important to let people know that you don't think that you're an expert and everything that you're saying is how it should be, because there's just so many gray areas. There's so many different ways to keep reptiles, and that's something that always must be kept in mind. Another thing I would say is just be passionate and just make the change that you want to see, because I think that's the most important thing. You need to have a goal. I feel like a lot of people want to like make channels just to be like famous or something, and if that's your goal, then just don't bother, because it's like not worth it. Just have a purpose and have something that you care about, and then get the word out about it, and then just spread your knowledge and you'll help other people. So the next question is favorite Beardy morph. Zero, hands down. Like the all white Zero, I think that's what it is called. I'm really bad with morphs, guys. The white bearded dragons though, those are my favorite. They're so cool. I can't even like name you guys another bearded dragon morph because I don't even know. I just know the Zero because I like it. 22, opinion on the YouTube pet community versus Instagram pet community. I don't really know about this because I feel like all of the people that I follow on like Instagram and YouTube, it's like all the same people. So I don't really know if it's like different. So I don't really know what to say about that. I feel like everyone's good. Everyone is just good, and everyone is improving, and things are getting better. Well, the next one is Kenyan sand boas and Mexican black king snakes. So the sand boas, adorable. I don't have an interest in keeping any, but they're cute. And Mexican black king snakes, they're gorgeous. It's not a particular animal that I like really want to own. I know people are like obsessed with them. I think they're really pretty, but I don't know. I'm just, you guys know I'm a boa person. Like, I just love my boas. And the very last question is, how do you feel about reptiles being emotional support animals? So this is really important. I think that animals can, or that reptiles in particular, can be great emotional support animals. Yeah, my animals always make me feel better. They give me purpose in life. They give me something to do. They're just great. But I always think that it's very important, because there's a fine line with this. Some people feel as if they need these animals, and then they may not be able to take care of them because of like whatever reason they got them in the first place. So if you have like anxiety, depression, or some other illness, like I have Crohn's disease, like if you have anything that could prevent you from actually caring for your animal, then you shouldn't have the animal. So it's just like a fine line. You shouldn't be having your animal like because they're helping you, because you have to realize that you're still responsible for them as well. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. And that's my opinion on all of this, because that was the very last question. So I hope that I answered these questions well. I'm really sorry for the people that asked me questions and I had no idea. So I apologize for that. If you guys want to know my opinion on anything else, go ahead and leave it in a comment and I will do my best to answer it for you. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you guys in the next one.